Welcome to Understand the Math. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. I'll walk you through these three examples step by step so that you'll know exactly how this works. The quadratic formula is just a really nice formula to solve quadratic equations that are written as ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. To make things easier, I went ahead and wrote down our formula for x. Let's now work through these examples. In our first example, we are going to be solving x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. This equation can easily be solved by trial and error, but I wanted to use an easy one to show you how the quadratic formula works. Let's start by writing down the formula. I always encourage students to write the formula because if you write it, you will memorize it. We have the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant, and I have a video on that if you want to find out more about what types of solutions we can get from a quadratic equation. What we're going to do now is we're going to plug in a, b, and c into this formula. X is equal to minus b. Let me highlight what b is. B is equal to minus 5, so we have to watch our negatives here. We're going to have a minus 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so this is minus 5 quantity squared, minus 4. A is the number multiplying x squared, which in our case is a 1. And then we have c, and c, get another color here, is the constant. And in this case, it's equal to 6. And then we're going to divide all of this by 2 times a, which in our case is 1. Now let's go ahead and let's simplify. Minus a negative 5 is 5. And then we have plus or minus the square root. Minus 5 squared is 25. And then 4 times 6 is 24. So we have a minus 24. And we're going to divide all of that by 2. We'll keep simplifying. This is x is equal to 5. Plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 24 is just the square root of 1. All divided by 2. So this is 5 plus or minus 1 divided by 2. We're going to have two solutions, and they are x is equal to 5 plus 1 divided by 2, or our other solution is x is equal to 5 minus 1 divided by 2. So we get x is equal to 6 divided by 2, which is x is equal to 3. And on the right, we have x is equal to 4 divided by 2, which gives us x is equal to 2. Our solutions are then x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 2. Let's now do another example. This example looks similar to the one that we just did, but it actually isn't because in this example, we are going to get complex solutions. Let's begin by writing down our problem. We have x squared plus 6x plus 10 is equal to 0. Let's write down our formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times a. Now we're going to plug in. Our x is equal to negative b. B is the term that multiplies x, so that's 6. So we have a minus 6. Plus or minus the square root. B squared is 6 squared minus 4. A is the constant multiplying x squared. In this case, it's a 1. So we'll put down a 1. And then our c is our standalone constant, and that's a 10. And then we're going to divide all of this by 2 times a, which is 1. Now let's simplify. We have x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 10 is 40. And then we have a 2 in our denominator. Let's keep going. We have x is minus 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 minus 40 is minus 4. And that's all divided by 2. I'm going to go ahead and go over here to the right and keep working. We're going to write this as minus 6 plus or minus, and we're going to split up minus 4 into the square root of 4 and the square root of minus 1. And I just want to remind you that the square root of minus 1 is equal to I. And then we'll write down our denominator. That's all divided by 2. So we're almost there. This is equal to minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2. And then we have our I. And we divide all of that by 2. Our final answer is then x. Our final answer is then x is equal to minus 6 divided by 2, which is minus 3. And then our 2's cancel in front of our I, and we have plus or minus I. We have two solutions, and they are x is equal to minus 3 plus I, or we have x is equal to minus 3 minus I. And I'll go ahead and I'll highlight those. Using the quadratic formula is the only way you can factor a quadratic that has complex solutions, unless you want to complete the square, and that's actually more complicated. Let's now look at our last example. I chose this example because we are going to end up with solutions that have square roots in them, so they're called irrational solutions. You also might notice when we write this problem down that it looks a little bit different because we have a constant on the right-hand side. What we're first going to have to do before we apply the formula is we're going to have to take that negative 2 and we're going to have to pull it to the left-hand side. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, and this becomes 3x squared minus 6x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now our equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, so we can go ahead and apply our formula. Our formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Let's go ahead and let's plug in. Our x is equal to negative b, so we'll have to watch the negatives here. We have a minus 6, plus or minus the square root. Our b is minus 6, so we'll square that. And then we have minus 4. Our a in this case is 3. And then our c is equal to 2. And then we're going to divide all of this by 2 times a, which is 3. Now let's go ahead and let's simplify. Minus a negative 6 is 6. Then we have plus or minus the square root. Minus 6 squared is 36. And then we have 4 times 3, which is 12, times 2 is 24. So this is 36 minus 24. And in our denominator, we have 6. Let's go ahead and let's simplify this on the right. So this becomes 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 minus 24 is going to be 12. Again, divided by 6. And then let's write the square root of 12 as the square root of 4 times 3. And then that way we can factor out a 2. And let's go ahead and let's do that. Our x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 3, all divided by 6. Now we can divide by 6 and we get 1 plus or minus root 3. And we can see that 2 goes into 6 3 times. So we'll have a root 3 divided by 3. Let's rewrite this as x is equal to 1 plus root 3 divided by 3. Or we have the solution x is equal to 1 minus root 3 divided by 3. And those are our final answers. We have two roots, and they are irrational real roots. I hope that you now feel more comfortable using the quadratic formula. The one thing that you might want to do before you work more problems is to go ahead and start memorizing that formula. You got this.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.